With gaming hardware becoming as powerful as it has, we've seen lots of players asking about the feasibility of gaming beyond 4K resolutions, whether it's on an ultra-wide monitor that has more pixels than a standard 4K display, or something like an 8K monitor that's the equivalent of mashing 4 4K displays together. But just because we can run games at absurdly high resolutions now, does it mean that we should? Or are there times where it's pointless, or even counterproductive? A good way to start answering this fairly leading question is to simply consider how far you're usually sitting from your screen. Generally speaking, higher resolutions make sense the closer you're sitting to a display and the larger that display is. As the farther back you get and the smaller the display becomes, the less you're able to discern individual pixels. That make sense? In fact, most people can't even see the individual pixels of a typical 27-inch or even a 32-inch 4K 3840 by 2160 monitor when they're sitting approximately 2 feet away from it. Meaning that even with a typical desk setup where you're fairly close to your monitor, going past 4K doesn't have much of a point. But keep this exception in mind. Even at that same distance, you'd be gaming beyond what's often called 4K if you're running an ultra-wide that has the same 2160 vertical pixels as a standard 4K screen, since you'll obviously be pushing some extra horizontal pixels if you're using the display at its native resolution, which is nice, as that ultra-wide aspect ratio can help games feel more immersive and increase your field of view. Just remember, if you're considering something like a 5120 by 2160 display, check available benchmarks to see what kind of performance you can expect with the graphics card you have, or the one you want to buy. But what if you're more of a couch gamer using a much larger TV to play your games? The same distance from screen logic applies, as you won't be able to pick out individual pixels on a 65-inch 4K TV if you're sitting just a little more than 4 feet away. In fact, we did an episode on our sister channel Linus Tech Tips where we had some of our team members try to see if they could tell the difference between a 4K and an 8K game feed on an 88-inch 8K display. Spoiler alert, they couldn't. Now, does all this mean there's just no point in running your games beyond 4K if you're not sitting super close to a large display? Well, we'll tell you the answer right after we thank Odoo for sponsoring this video. Are you still stuck watching how to code a website videos and getting nowhere? Try Odoo and build a free website for your business. It's business time. Plus, they make it super simple. No coding skills are needed, just drag and drop and voila, your site is up and running. How did this happen? This is amazing. And if you're feeling creatively blocked, their AI copywriter will whip up content faster than you can come up with a clever slogan. Plus, Odoo throws in unlimited hosting, reliable support, and a free custom domain for a whole year. Visit the link in the description to create a website for free. Now, besides ultra-wides, another time it can make sense to aim for a resolution beyond 4K is when you're using DLSS or FSR, smart upscaling techniques that render the game at a lower resolution and then upscale them to a higher resolution. This upscaling makes it far easier for your GPU to output an 8K signal. In fact, some users have reported that the image quality in certain games can be better when the game is set to 8K DLSS instead of 4K native, even on a typical 4K display. But remember that with these upscaling techniques, your visual quality mileage may vary depending on the game. And on the subject of visual quality, it's important to remember that resolution is not a synonym for visual quality. Having more pixels on your screen comes at the cost of having nicer looking pixels. In other words, if you're already running your games at 4K, you're much more likely to have a more pleasing gaming experience by using any extra GPU power to turn up other visual settings, such as texture quality and shadow detail, assuming doing so won't bring down your frame rate too much. Even if you don't touch your other visual settings at all, you're also far more likely to have a better experience by enjoying the much higher frame rates you'll be getting at 4K rather than native 8K. In fact, high frame rates and more consistent frame times, which cut down on stuttering, are often emphasized more these days as vital to a high fidelity gaming experience, as many games have hit a point of diminishing returns when it comes to visual quality, along with the aforementioned improvements in upscaling that make the actual resolution less important. And while it is true that running your games at higher resolutions can help cut down on the aliasing or jaggies you see on sharp edges, you can always just turn on multi-sample anti-aliasing to get the same effect, which increases the resolution only on edges. This is much less computationally expensive than rendering the whole scene in 8K or a similarly ultra-high resolution. So you can give 8K with DLSS or FSR a try if you'd like, but we recommend not running out to buy an expensive 8K screen or upgrade your graphics card just so you can try to run 8K natively. Heck, even an RTX 4090 has to work hard to run certain titles, even at native 4K when you crank the quality up. In any event, there just isn't enough of a difference for most people, and although the higher numbers might sound tantalizing, you really shouldn't be suffering from FOMO. Thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, check out our other video on DLSS 3 and how it uses AI to upscale your games. What is it doing in there? Is it alive? We don't know.